distinguished speakers and all audience. Now we proceed to the third speaker. We have here Bapak Alexander Jovanovic dari Transresort. He is the General Manager of the Transresort Bali dan juga Director Development Hotel and Resort of City Corp. Bapak Alex, silakan Pak, 15 minutes, and after that we will have Q&A sessions after all these speakers present their presentations. Please, Pak Alex.
Thank you, and first of all, to acknowledge the warm welcome address by Vice Governor Chokach. That was really nice, and His Excellency Pak Tantowi, amazing presentation with New Zealand, really appreciated that. Fellow speakers, moderator Erica, and to all the listeners, it gives me great pleasure this afternoon to talk specifically within the hotel and hospitality industry with the key topic being digital transformation. So if we can just put my presentation on, please. Okay, so next. Okay, next. Okay, so I think in times of crisis, such as what we're facing through this pandemic, I've been using this four abbreviated word called GRIT, guts, resilience, initiative, and tenacity. And I think now agility and resiliency have never been more important in the hotel and hospitality industry. So I look at this word as being an ultimate survival tool during this current pandemic. Next. So for us as a hotel, we've remained open since this pandemic, and we've had to change our strategy 3 times. We've looked at different segmentation, and I agree with what His Excellency Tantowi said, domestic is key, and we're very much aware of that. But through the course of the pandemic, we were just hopeful that maybe we could penetrate other opportunities that was not just domestic, but that's certainly been the case. And we've had to adjust our business levels, particularly as many of the other hotels that are open, given headcount. But I think the most important thing for us as a hotel was never to close the hotel. We knew that we had to self-fund ourselves, and we were very fortunate that we had a lot of success from our regular repeaters that supported one of our initiatives, which was a prepaid voucher campaign. And part of that success is social media. Next slide. So this is something, even during a disruption stage like the pandemic, it's very interesting to note that the success for us in one of our strategies was being very personalized with our database, our current database that we had, and communicating by WhatsApp. And you can see statistically through all industries how important each of those social media platforms were and the incredible increase. Next. So leadership, I think, and I call it a leadership mantra, is really to ride this coronavirus and you know, hopefully and possibly, you know, emerge even stronger. So you need to look at whatever new technologies are available. You need to have different communication strategies, and hopefully these will generate new revenue structures as well. So really, I think in terms of leadership, you know, we do adapt as human beings. We adapt, and the reality of living with a pandemic and making that sink into our minds, you have to start to think differently, be more innovative. You know, have a desperation as leaders in our industry, experiment, and create new business models that can, and new engagement tools that can possibly help you sustain during these difficult times. So the objective that I want to say today is to ride the coronavirus wave ultimately and emerge stronger. Next. So if you look at our famous Charles Darwin, this was a saying that I loved a lot, you know, recognize the importance of adaptability over strength and intelligence when it comes to survival. So I hope if there's a little takeaway today, I hope some of you will remember how important flexibility really is. Next. So now we get into the guts of my presentation, digital transformation. And this concept really it has a special relevance to our industry. So this item we call travel and hospitality leaders, despite the level of disruption that we are currently facing by the industry. So what I'm saying here is that in our industry, we've always sort of responded very well to challenging times. We've introduced incredible initiatives. We've produced game-changing innovativeness, and we are likely to impact and actually improve in the future the way we fly, stay, eat, and well into the future. So no matter what industry or company, digital processes offer companies an unbeatable opportunity to transform the way they run their organizations and interact with their customers. Next. So how do we do that? One way is handling our business data. So customer interactions must be collected, organized, and analyzed in ways that aid proactive decision making. And I think that's really important because there's so much data, that a lot of large companies have within their reach. And one of those companies actually happens to be our company, which I'll share with you in a moment. Next. So the second point is, training and hiring talent. So this is really, really important because employees have to adapt to understanding the information that's gathered from these digital sources. And they need to be trained and to collaborate across all traditional industries. Now, the other thing is that, travel and hospitality industries must also compete with other industries. So skilled workers have to achieve their digital transformation goals. Next. So now we talk about the actual tools. So implementing the most efficient business systems and tools. And obviously there's a lot of software, there's hardware, there's digital platforms. All of these tools offer capabilities and advantages. Now, if you're a company that you're not used to this type of technology, then, really it's about time that you start learning. Or if you're a company that maybe has been underutilizing your annual spends in upgrading your technology or looking at future technologies. So this is really a time that you should really start focusing on technology as a way to get through this wave of pandemic. Next. So what have we got? We got 4 key areas: resilient, agile, efficient, and insightful. So let me just touch on that. Resilient. This is when you're able to weather the storm and storms like the shock of the COVID-19. This can help organizations to handle the strain they're currently facing. Can be through analog communications, it can be working with customers, and more importantly, you could use what some companies do, this remote workforce. For agility, able to make quick adaptations and scale a business in response to shifts in competition, emerging markets, or changing economic conditions. Efficiency, how to identify the use of the best resources, whether it be digital or physical, and more efficiently, and thereby generating more value for customers, employees, and the owners. And the last one, insightful, this is an ability to able to generate accurate information about the state of the business and your customers, thereby improving competitiveness, efficiency, resilience, and agility. Next. So I mentioned to you that even our own company, and if you look at the breakdown of our company, I'll give you a couple of seconds to absorb who we are, Corp. Many of you obviously know who we are, but look, this company is what we refer to as a consumer-centric company. So in other words, we strive off customers, media, television, theme parks, hotels, tour agency, e-commerce. We have Detic.com, we have airlines with Garuda and CityLink, a very high percentage there. So, this is really interesting that, where CT Corp now is and where CT Corp want to move in the future, we have also acknowledged that we want to be more digital. So allow me to explain this. So what we're trying to say is, look at all those business units, how much of a database is available there? What if we were able to understand their behaviors? What if we were able to start communicating to all of that database, cross-functioning across each of those business units, and then communicating so that, we have a bigger a more successful, if you like, a synergy, but in our company, that digitally we will start to communicate with them, and especially as we get out of this. So an example of this for a lot of you in our industry is, you know, the big chains who have those loyalty programs, right? You know how successful that can be with a points redemption. Well, this is not dissimilar, but it's a more varied company structure. So we are really very excited about this. So what we plan to do is set up what we call a super app. Next. So that's the super app. So you see, check that Corp there. It's not developed yet. We're in the process of developing it. We're very keen. So you can see again, from a consumer-centric company, we are looking at being a more consumer digital company. Next. Now, people and culture. So, you know, in this, I'm talking about all the technology side, the hardware, the software, and all that transformation, but still you've got to invest in people and look at the people that probably have the digital skills, give them training, and how best to use the new technology in order to achieve those new company goals that you have in mind. So digital transformation isn't just about software, data, technology, it's also about people and culture. Next. So I like this one, cherish your people. So when we were in tough times and we changed our strategy 3 times in the last 8 months, the beginning of it, we came up with this TransVentures, you know, just for a little bit of fun through a very difficult time. So, you know, please don't forget about your people. Investing in the future means investing in the people. Next. So a few survival tips. Continually look for new market opportunities, and this can be in parallel with other industries. Be consumer-centric. It always has been around, and you know, it's very important to focus on how your company can continue to provide value in either virtual, hybrid, and the physically distanced world. Lives and livelihoods, these are quite linked. So make sure you're compassionate, honest, and transparent with your people, especially if you have to let some go. And we have all had to, unfortunately, go through this. You saw my slide earlier. We've gone down 60% from our current manpower prior to the COVID, sadly. But we are optimistic that we will start to bring these people back as the business and the international market returns. So when the flow of business does return, talent will be even more fierce than ever. Experiment and try new ideas. Now, this is important because if you wait for everything to be perfect, you'll never start. So especially when you need to pivot and move quickly in a different direction, start experimenting and finding some way to bring leverage to your business. And that takes me to that last point, leverage online and social media. And this is very important because no matter what happens, you want to keep your brand visible. Next. So just to recap, you know, digital transformation, I believe it's more relevant and it's more urgent than ever before. You know, making decisions related to this transformation is a very important strategy that you need to decide as a business, especially in our industry, in hospitality and hotels. The success can bring business stability, it can bring growth. It can also produce, you know, innovation that you had never thought of before. So, you know, maybe this investment of digital transformation will give you the biggest impact that you probably never realized. Next. So that's my closure, ladies and gentlemen. I believe strongly that technology is the glue that enables all of these components as I discussed in my presentation. Thank you very much. Next.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Pak Alex Jovanovic, General Manager of the Trans Resort of Bali, as well as the Director of Development Hotel and Resort of City Corp. Definitely, Pak Alex, just like cherish your people. So in good time and great time, in good time and bad times, definitely it is all about investing in people. Yes, I definitely agree in your survival tips that if we wait everything to be perfect, so then we will never start. So then start now for the recovery of, or what are you saying, like faster reborn for Bali. Thank you very much indeed one more time, Pak Alex.